if it was good or not. But they did do right on the trailer because it piqued my interest, and I have zero interest in Marvel. So go Mama Buckle. By the way, how do I recommend, not that it matters anymore, and I've been going off for, holy crap, 32 minutes already, and I haven't even started on my review. Sorry, D not. Nope, one of the Spider-Man's most notorious villains. He's a villain? Spider-Man community was so upset about that movie. I didn't see it, but watched. Haha, so cool to finally tune in. As a comic fan, I can confirm that I haven't seen the movie, but the weird rhino scream moment already screams The Room. Levels of so bad it's good. I'm used to it. Thanks for the shout out. Yeah, I bet you're used to it, huh? I don't know what. Oh, The Room. We did watch that movie, and then we watched, yeah. Hi, Mock. Hang on, I'm going to turn my fan because I'm super hot. Also, I went like 3 places today and got so many compliments on my skirt. 3 places, 3 compliments. I just can't leave the house without getting compliments on this skirt. I love it, and I bought it on accident. I left it in my Amazon cart and ordered my husband some t-shirts. See, you do get... no, girls don't count. Let's get going on Umbra. Okay, geez Louise, Ellen. Okay, I'm not going to talk about my skirt, but it was like a gift from me to me because I didn't realize I ordered it. I ordered it on accident. Geez, Ellen. Okay. Oh, it's not letting me freaking... Okay. Hold up. Your married girls do count. I can't help but admit you are beautiful, miss. Thank you, Nissy. Yeah, all of the... I get compliments from girls nonstop. And then, like, all the time, girls and kids always compliment me on my outfits. And I've actually started getting, like, the last few weeks or something, guys have been, like, grown men saying, that is such a nice dress. Which is so nice to hear. Because guys, I've never ever been, like, hit on, ever, in my life. Not since I was, like, a teenager, which is fine with me, because I got married really young and I'm happy. But I think I told this story. Did I told this story. I don't remember where I told this story. The other day I was taking a kid across the street, and I am multitasking here. I took a kid across the street to go back to play date, and I was hanging out in his driveway because he refused to go inside of his house. And this 11-year-old boy this group of 11-year-old boys were riding by on their bikes, and one of them did a jump. And I thought he said, "Screw you." And I looked at him and I was like, "Were you being rude?" And he was like, "No." He was like, I was like, "Did you just say screw you?" And he was like, "No, I said that was for you. I was rizzing you up." And I was like, that's so cute. Hang on, Alan. I'm trying to post a link in my things being stupid. So I got rizzed up by an 11-year-old, which was a big moment for me. Hold up. I've got to figure out how to post this. I want to post the link to the story for everybody to have. Okay. It's hard to innocently compliment girls as a guy because it's immediately usually taken as getting riz. Yeah, I can see that. I understand that. Okay, everybody, there's a link to this amazing story that I'm about to review. I swear I'm about to review it. It's happening. Okay. But nice dress. Thank you. I'm really excited about this dress. Well, it's a skirt, but it's a dress. Okay. Got a lot going on here. And I did not properly, set everything up, so it's going to take an extra second. Sorry, D-Not. You're so patient, and I swear it'll be worth it. Let's see here. There we go. Well, I said there we go. I mean, there we go for me, not for you guys. freaking finally. Okay, currently discussing. Cover. Have you checked out Textual's Rabbit Foot Farm? Yeah, I also saw Textual's Rabbit Foot Farm. Those bunnies were cute, and I can't believe you're just going to chop off their feet. But I don't know anything about. There we go. Okay. Are we ready here? Hopcoin is going to the moon. I believe in you, Textual. You're going to do it. Okay, D-Not who is in the chat today, who has posted his story on Wattpad. I'm so excited. I'm going to be reviewing their story today. So if you're not familiar, Wattpad is a story where anybody, or is a website where anybody from all over the world, even Canadians, can post their stories, no matter what level. I mean, there's fan fiction on there. There's there's novels that like legit I would pay money for and put up on my shelf. I actually did buy a book that was on Wattpad, and they happened to have a print version, so I went and bought it on Amazon. Like, there are really good books on Wattpad. There's really bad books on Wattpad. There's no limit to what's on there. It's a really great place for the writing community, in my opinion. It has its flaws, but it is fantastic. So this book is available on Wattpad. It's also available on Royal Road and D-Not. You can also you can go ahead and let us know where else it might be available. But as far as I know, it is available on Wattpad and Royal Road. Not sure where else it is available, but this is The Brothers Umbra. Oh, wait. Yeah, the Brothers Umbra Bloodlines, which is what I'm going to be reviewing. And yeah, great cover. Those are the two primary. Okay, cool. Oh, maybe ink it. I don't know. Anyway, so I was not planning on reviewing today. So the reason why I'm actually streaming early is because I wanted to make sure I had time to do this and my normal stream, which is my first impression stream. So we're starting with this one. And I'm so glad I did. And I'm so glad I read it. I read it in I think it was 2 days thank you for the follow, Mama Buckle. I think I read it in 2 days. I read the bulk of it last night, but it's a quick read. It's binge worthy. I thought it was great. But anyways, so the author is D-Not, aka Dylan M. Putnam on Wattpad. The great D-Not. He enjoys writing. Love is probably a better term. Oh, and I'm all over the place. Sorry. This is what the author provided to me as their little bit about yourself, which I always like to provide about the author. This is what he said. I've been planning this world and its characters for a couple of years now, but only started putting pen to paper about 7 months ago. Young adult is, and always will be, my favorite genre of books. So most of my work tends to be written in that style. So that's D-Not. I also know he loves long romantic walks on the beach. He's also engaged, which I always forget to ask, if you guys have set a date, and also my congratulations to you, D-Not, for the engagement. Bloodlines is volume 1, and there's already a sequel. I don't know if you started writing it. I'm pretty sure you've started writing it, but it's volume 1 that we're going to be reading and reviewing today. There's not a lot of I would say there's no mature content in this. I mean, obviously there's some, it's in an action type of book, but, yeah. Okay. And then this book cover is from Fiverr, which is so cool. So just looking at the book cover alone, I love it. I think it's great. You got two of the two main characters right here. I have 0 notes on the cover. I think it's so cool. Also, I just realized what the background is, which is not the main character. I just realized that. Anyways, very, very, very cool cover. I like that you have the main characters. You're getting action. You're getting magic. You're getting all of that from the cover. I think it's really good. And also the... I would say that the title is also big enough, clear enough. I have zero notes on the cover. It is money well spent if you bought it on Fiverr. The second book is in the works. Okay, cool. Okay, so hang on. Is there any specific? Okay, and so Dina, I'm just gonna read what you had requested to be at the other part that you had included on here, that if this, you're looking for specific feedback on, the most important part to me is if the story flows nicely. I pride myself on having a breakneck pace the whole way through. Totally agree. But I want to make sure that it isn't too much. I'd also like to know how well Chapter 7, Walking Catechism, works, as I try to do a perspective switch mid-chapter, first person to third. So I will be providing notes on that, which are just... I thought Walking Cataclysm was an awesome chapter, and I didn't have any issue with you switching from first person to third. It made sense absolutely in that section of the book. My biggest inspiration for this story is Arthurian legend. A lot of stuff in this book is set up in the future adaptation of the legends. For example, the Mirage Sword is a pre-named Excalibur. So I'm guessing you're talking about King Arthur. I didn't know a lot about that. I was getting a lot of like angel, like when I was reading it, just based off of the names and kind of the plot, I was thinking about angels because of the name Gabriel and because of like the demon and the divine stuff. And I was also getting, I don't know if you've ever seen the show Supernatural, but just the brothers thing and then the reincarnation thing. I don't know if I forget which season it is in Supernatural where Dean and Sam are both supposed to be taking on the roles of Gabriel and Lucifer, basically, in something like that. But it also gave Supernatural to me, the story. So as far as that, Jensen Ackles is the coolest. Jensen Ackles, so amazing. I'm a big fan of Jensen Ackles. He's great. That was season 5, and it was Michael and Lucifer. Oh, okay. Sorry. Not Gabriel. Excuse me, Zach. Everybody's a Supernatural fan. Man, I love Supernatural. But yeah, I love Jensen Ackles. I even reference Jensen Ackles in my book. That's how much I like him. Let's see here. Okay, so normally what I do is I'll provide a review of the cover, a review of the summary, and a review of the tags, which is what is my first impression, and then I'll go into the bulk of the review. So let's do that. Everybody sees the cover here. I think that it's got a great title. Absolutely no notes on the title, no notes on the cover. I think it's great. That's the radio company guy I was telling you about last night, Padalecki. Yeah, Jared Padalecki's great. And Morphus Max, welcome to the chat. Again, the way they poked fun at themselves always had me cackling. Okay, in Supernatural, one of my favorite episodes is the one where they like go into a dimension where they are starring in the show Supernatural, which I think is awesome. And I don't know if you haven't seen it on YouTube, you got to look it up. It's like they kind of do a behind the scenes Supernatural funny thing. And like part of what's so funny about it is that it reveals that Jared Padalecki wears a wig, which I thought was really funny. Yes, that's the exact scene I was thinking. Oh, okay, yeah. And then also I really liked the Ghostfacers. Every time Ghostfacers was on screen, I was happy. I loved them. They were hilarious. I love Supernatural. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I seriously love that show, and I think about it a lot. It's like right up my alley. Like I love Buffy. Like I love that kind of like world where there's just a ton of magical creatures, and they all have like different lore, and like it's a Scooby Gang type of thing. I love it. Anyways, this is the, let's see here. So for Brothers Umbra, it's a pretty short It's a pretty short book. I read it really quickly. According to Wattpad, it's 4.5 hours long. It'll take you to read. So it's on the shorter size. Have you seen Being Human? Yes, I have seen Being Human. That's another good one. 4.5 hours, quick read. Already, you just started posting it, and already you have 175 reads. That's awesome. And 63 votes. Sheesh. You are making some great headway on Wattpad already. That's awesome. Okay, so this is the summary provided by the author. 16 years ago, twin infants were left on a stranger's doorstep. They grew up as brothers, unaware that their lineage would one day tear them apart. On their 16th birthday, everything changes. When Luca's powers awaken in a storm of black flames, everyone recognizes him for what he truly is, the reincarnation of the Demon King who nearly destroyed the world. Branded a monster, he is forced on the run, pursued by those who see only the villain inside him. Among them is Caesar, hailed as the reincarnation of the hero, Gabriel. With the weight of prophecy on his shoulders, he is tasked with slaying his own flesh and blood. But the deeper he searches, the more he questions the truth about their past, their fate, and whether Luca is truly the monster everyone paints him to be. That is a great, great, great summary. Normally I have recommendations on a summary. I don't know if I have any. I don't think I have any on this one. I think that's an awesome summary, and I think it's very accurate to what goes on in the book. And it's intriguing. I don't know if anybody has thoughts in the chat, definitely say them. But as far as summaries go, that kills. I think that it is like you have a lot of keywords here: monster, demon king, hero, Gabriel, and then it obviously hints at conflict between the two brothers. You're hinting at character development, like an anti-hero type of thing. So I think that it just rocks. It's a great summary. No notes on the summary. What are your opinions on the until everything changes? I feel it tells us what to feel rather than just say what the inciting incident is. Okay. That's a good point. Although it's kind of, okay, hang on. They grew up as brothers, unaware their lineage would one day tear them apart. So it was. Does it say until? It's stylistic, but that always takes me out of it. Okay, let's see. Until everything changes. I don't see that. Oh, okay, sorry. On their 16th birthday, everything changes. Okay, so Mama, I don't know if you've read this book, but that happens the first chapter. So I don't know. I might have a qualm with the issue, like everything changes if everything changes midway through the book. Like, or something. That's one thing that is a real strength of this book, is it starts off, you're thrust into the story immediately. On their 16th birthday, everything changes. When Luca's powers awaken in a storm, I don't know, I don't have a problem with it. It's nitpicky, but thought I'd share. Okay, that is the point of this. So my feedback is always going to be constructive. I'm not going to sit here and tell anybody that their book is perfect and needs no changes. That doesn't help. I mean, it might help your confidence, but it doesn't actually help you improve as a writer. I feel like this is a really good space where we're respectful of all of the time that people put into their books and how much they love them. And just everything that goes into their books. But we're here to look for stuff and be nitpicky and try and help the author improve their story, so that they can, fulfill their awesome dreams of becoming a published writer, or to gain a bigger audience, or just to have a work that they're proud of. That's the point of this, was we want to improve. You can't improve if you don't work towards it. I mean, even Ellen's story, who was like, A few of you caught it. I glazed the hell out of her story because I absolutely thought it was phenomenal. She's a 10 billion times better author. I still had a little bit of notes for her, things that can improve. That's the whole point of this. So anyways, Mama, go crazy with your nitpickiness. Love it. Maybe I'm not nitpicky enough because I don't have a problem with on their 16th birthday, everything changes, because that's, it's like, oh, everything changes. Maybe it's a little bit rudimentary, but it is, I feel like that kind of pars up with what's going on in this story, right? Like it's a young adult book. I feel like that on their 16th birthday, everything changes. Everything does change. Okay. I think if it's removed, you still understand that everything is now going to change. Okay. On their 16th birthday, Luca's powers awaken in a storm of black flames, period. Everyone recognizes for what he truly is, the reincarnation of the Demon King who nearly destroyed the world. However, I feel like if you get rid of the everything changes and kind of restructure those first two sentences in this. So, okay, I'm just going to read this again. On their 16th birthday, Luca's powers awaken in a storm of black flames. Everyone recognizes him for who he truly is, the reincarnation of the Demon King who nearly destroyed the world. I feel like that almost implies that Luca's been keeping a secret when it's also news to him. On their 16th birthday, everything changes. Luca's power. That doesn't change what I just said either, so I don't know. Technically, it could be this instead. On their 16th birthday, when Luca's powers awaken. Okay, we still get the same message if it's cut. I see what y'all are saying. Yes, ma'am. Okay. I think that... I still like it. But maybe I'm just not as smart as you guys. Like as like far as like being able to figure out the combination of angel themes and brotherhood reminds me of the story I wrote, Brothers in Wings, as the protagonists are named Chilean versions of Raphael and Gabriel. That's awesome. First of all, Raphael is such a killer name. And if you've seen the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, that what's that funny guy's name? Anyways, Seth Rogen, he created a new Ninja Turtles movie, and it's really good, and Raphael's the funny one in that one. Definitely a nitpick, as a young adult style is staying makes it part of the hook, so not even a big deal. Yeah, I feel like I like it. Everything changes, and so it's like now that's the inciting incident. How did I get 60 followers? That is so awesome. Thank you, Morpheru. Thanks for the follow. I'm getting so many followers. That's so crazy. Okay. So I like that. I like it a lot. You could take the same ideas, D-Not, and restructure it a few times, just to see if, just like be like, okay, I want all of this information. Write it 4 times, write it 4 different times, just starting from scratch every single time, and then see if there's anything that you prefer the most, and then have somebody who's completely fresh to the story read it and tell you their thoughts. I feel like that would be a good idea. I saw that with my dad last year, who was also a Ninja Turtles fan growing up, and it was awesome. Missy goated, that's why. Great stream. Thanks. Yeah, the new Ninja Turtles movie is awesome. My daughter is a diehard fan of Ninja Turtles. I had no experience with Ninja Turtles growing up. We didn't have TV, which is why I'm such a bookworm. And I lived out in the middle of the mountains in the wood, in a trailer in the woods with books and the wilderness as my entertainment. So I'm a little bit of a feral child with books. But my daughter discovered like Ninja Turtles suddenly, and she's so obsessed with Michelangelo. She thinks he's the greatest like character in the world, which is awesome because she's just silly. Better than a van down by the river. Yep. I was warned not to do drugs, otherwise I'd end up in a van down by the river. There are books about feral kids with books. I should write a book about a feral kid with books. My whole life, all I would do all day, take my books, like all summer long, all spring break, I would take my book. Well, okay, so spring break just ended. And I remembered, growing up for spring break, One, I would go on a hunt for all of the flowers, the spring flowers popping up. The crocus is like spring's my favorite season ever. And so I would go out and look on our land for all of the spring, the crocus popping up out of the ground. It was my favorite thing. But I'd take a book with me. And then my dad was a plumber. Well, on the side, he was a plumber. And he would, I'd go into his plumbing truck and I'd hide out in there so nobody would bug me, and I would read and I'd listen to the rain pattering down. It was like the bomb. Or I'd go on a hike if it was nice out, and I'd just read my books under a tree. It's like, why can't I just do that now? I miss my childhood, just reading nonstop. Feral kids remind me of a Maximum Ride series before things went downhill. I've never heard of Maximum Ride. Ever. I'll have to look it up. Feral kids are the best, though. Okay, there's also a what to expect on the summary, which I think is common in Royal Road, which I unfortunately still don't have any experience with. What to expect: multiple POVs, sibling angst, brutal fights. Edric, I love that Edric gets his own bullet. That is so awesome. I freaking loved Edric. I cannot tell you, Dina, how much I loved Edric. I'm going to be rating the characters at the end of this. Edric gets a very high rating. Okay. Are monsters born or created? Love that too. Love that. A promise for that. Oh, that is such a good bullet. A promise for an ever expanding story that follows generations. I love it. I love your summary. I think it's great, Dina. I don't have any good notes. Sorry. It's great, but the chat has better notes for me. Okay. So the tags are action, adventure, angst, Arthurian, betrayal, demons, drama, fantasy, fast-paced, magic, male lead, male protag, multiple lead, mythology, original, reincarnation, sword fighting, tragedy, YA. Dang, no notes. These are awesome. These are so awesome. Not a better writer than they give themselves credit for. Yeah. No, this is good. Perhaps I need to give this story a read. You should give it a read. I think it's good. I will be getting into some spoilers though. Dina, let me know how spoilery I can get, please. I'm about to go over the character breakdown and the setting breakdown and the plot breakdown. So let me know now how spoilery I can get. Can I go all the way through how it ends? Which I try to avoid as much detail as possible unless there's an issue, and I have no issue with how it ends. I think it's a freaking great ending. You're all good. I'm of the mind that spoilers can get some people interested. Okay. I would kill somebody if they spoiled my book. You cannot know the ending. There's too many twists. Well, okay. Let's see here. Great endings are so hard to come by. This book has a great ending. I really like how it ends. It's like tied up in a neat bow, but then also like really open to the sequel, which is going to happen. If it comes very naturally, like, anyways, let me get into the actual review here so I'm not giving everything away. So let's go over. I'm going to start with my I'm going to go with my character breakdown first. Sorry, again, I did not organize my notes on this yet, but who cares? You guys don't care. I don't think. Hang on, I also have a stomach ache, so. Drinking Olipop helps with my stomach issues. Prebiotics, botanicals, plant fiber. I don't know. I drink it, and I just don't feel like I'm going to throw up. Okay. Let's start with our main character, Luca. Come on. Death better than the poison you drink. Okay, I don't drink poison. For everybody who doesn't know, I drink protein powder in my hot chai latte every day. And I got so much crap about it on Kita's stream. He literally gagged. He was like, oh, like overreaction big time to my freaking, yeah, it was a chai latte. It's just milk and chai and protein powder. It's vanilla protein powder. And it's protein powder you're supposed to drink warm. And I need more protein in my body to help build the lining of my stomach. So I have to be really intentional about how much protein I drink or eat. And it's hard for me to eat a lot of protein because I have so many stomach issues. Hey, if it's something you're drinking anyway, might as well. So anyways, it's delicious. And I look forward to it every day. And I put whipped cream and cinnamon sugar on the top. And I feel like super bougie when I drink it. Kita hates feeling hugged by a lovely chai latte in the morning. Mama, you're the bomb. Thank you so much for being a part of my stream. He gets it. He gets how good chai is. And vanilla. I love cinnamon though. A lot of people don't like cinnamon. Anyways, character review. So there's two main characters. I would argue that Luca is a little bit more of a main character than the other main character. Just because you start out with him, he has a little bit, they both have complex storylines, but I would say that he's kind of got a little bit more going on. And then the inciting incident is with him. So I think that he is a little bit more of the main character than his twin brother, who kind of shares the spotlight with him, his brother Caesar. Okay, I'm a dip because I hate spoilers and I'm actually read it. Okay, bye, Trellian. You can catch the review on YouTube later after you read it. But I hope you have an awesome stream. Thank you, Trellian. Thank you for coming. Okay, anyways, Luca. This is Luca. He's our main guy. 16 years old, on his sweet 16. We are introduced to him. So we don't actually get a lot about his personality other than just reading through his perspective. And that is actually a criticism that I have, is that I want more on him. I want more on Caesar too. If you start streaming again, which I hope you do, I shall be back. Okay, great. I might like streaming because I'll probably do special request reviews. So like if Kita ever wants me to review his book, or Textual ever wants me to review his book, or if Ellen ever decides to write another book and wants a review, like I'll do special read and reviews. Absolutely. Or if I'm just like, I have an extra time, I'll do another. I don't really know what I'm doing. All I know is that right now I don't have enough time for my family and I'm trying to create that time somewhere. Do review scripts. I've actually the only script type thing I have ever read was like a Harry Potter book before I cooled off on Harry Potter. But Mama, if you want me to read your script and review it, I absolutely will. But yeah, I don't know how much I could offer just because I don't have a lot of experience. I have a lot of experience reading a ton of books. So that's I don't have any literature education, none whatsoever. I just am, I'm like, what am I trying to say? I'm only offering my expertise as a potential reader and fan of the book. So like, this is a type of book I would read. It's an action, adventure, magic, like young adult book. That's something I would purchase and put on my shelf if it was really good, right? So I'm a potential reader for DNOT. So I can provide notes to DNOT as a potential reader. I don't feel like I'm a good enough author to provide great notes as an author. So all of my feedback is pretty much going to be as a reader and what I like to read. So that's all I can say. Storytelling carries over. Okay. I'll be submitting stuff, but want you to do your thing. Missy, come back as a song. What? Ma'am, you can't start 2 hours early without notice. I'm sorry, Cherry. I started 2 hours early. Hi, Angel. How are you? How's the baby? Angel has a cute baby. Everybody, just so you're all aware. Last stream and I missed a whole hour. I'm going to be going late. That's the whole reason I started early, because I'm going to be going late. I was wrong and I just can't live without you. She doesn't want to nap, but she's good. Oh, my son's a terrible napper. My daughter, great napper. My son, nope. It sucks. Napping is so key to being able to get anything done outside of the baby. Okay, so Luca. I like Luca. So basically the book starts out with and through his POV, I would say the bulk of I'd be interested to see like a ratio of Luca to Caesar's POV, but I'm guessing it's somewhere between 60 and 70% from Luca's POV. And it stinks because he, you know, you don't really know anything about him because the first chapter he gets like, boom, I have magic powers. He's kind of like definitely other based on his red eyes and black hair, the sinister looking dude, right? And so I don't know how that, I have so many notes about like the way that it starts, but I don't want to get into it yet. Anyways, I like him as a main character. I like him as our protagonist. I like, or which is the same word, but like as the person that I'm rooting for throughout the story. I think he does a good job. I think his thought process is very natural. Things that I would be thinking about. I think that he has like good intentions throughout the book. And yeah, I really liked him as a character. Anyways, he thinks he's a normal kid. Then all of a sudden he's like, boom, nope, I'm the reincarnation of the Demon King. How fun. So he gets like all of these magic powers all of a sudden, and they're very like, it's like a bad sign. Like Harry Potter can speak parcel tongue type of thing where they're like, oh, are you evil? Except for everybody's like, he's evil. Like, he's got evil powers. So that's what happens to our main character immediately, is that he's basically shunned by society and hunted because when he gets his magical powers, when he has his little moment. So this is Luca, the reincarnation of the Demon King, Damon. He's been set up. Yeah. So anyways, I would say the bulk of the book is through his perspective. Black hair, red eyes is not common in this world. And so he's rocking those. So here's another picture of him. I love this art, by the way. It's so freaking cool. Look at those hands, man. This is also him. He's just like a hero dude. Except for he's not a hero dude. So he's so this is his twin. Hang on just a second. This is his twin and the one that he shares the main character role with. Come on, dude. Caesar, right? This is Caesar. So Caesar, as described in the books, looks like he belongs in a painting. So it sucks. This is his twin brother. And he's got golden eyes and white hair, which is a trademark of like the royal family in this world. And so he just looks like a beautiful angel. And then like imagine growing up like that. It's crazy. And so this is Caesar. And we also get from his perspective, he's the second main character. In this book, we get a good POV. He's also complicated. He is just like he's kind of like run by what he feels like is his duty as his role as the reincarnation of the hero with a capital H, Gabriel. So they're both kind of like told who they're supposed to be. He was told at a younger age who he was supposed to be. Unfortunately, Luca, it was just like, bam, FYI, you're the reincarnation of the Demon King. Gabriel, it is revealed that he got little breadcrumbs to finding out his destiny. So sad. But anyways, he gets to the angelic features, and then poor Luca has to be the hot emo one. Okay, so fun fact about Luca and Caesar's name. Caesar, Umbra, translate to holy shadow, whereas Luca, Umbra, translate to light's shadow in Latin. Oh, that is so cool. That is very cool. So Caesar is living in Gabriel's shadow, and then Luca is living in Caesar's shadow. That is very, very cool. I'm so bad with names. There is not like an original name at all in my book. In fact, everybody was named after who they actually are in real life. And also a lot of my characters are just recreated people of other books, and I just kept their names, right? If you're writing about Frankenstein, just keep his name Frankenstein, right? I mean, you call him Frankie, but Yeah, that's very cool. Very creative. There was a lot. I think there was a lot of really fun details in this book. Stuff like that made sense. But anyway, so this is what we're dealing with. These are our two main characters that we are dealing with. Also, I'm going to go over my favorite character. I love him so much. My guy, Edric. Edric! Our red-headed comic relief character. I love him. He was so fun to read. Every single line by him was phenomenal. I loved him. He was so fun to read. I absolutely adored him. Edric is the man. Look at him. He has lightning power. A light of hope in this drab story. What a name. I love it. Yeah. I love him. He's my favorite character. If I'm rating characters, Luca gets a solid 8 out of 10. I liked Luca. He's a good character. Caesar gets like a 6 or a 7 out of 10. He didn't think enough for me. He's not a thinker. Edric, 1,000 out of 10. He's the bomb. He's so great. I loved him. He was so freaking funny. He's hilarious. I loved him. He was not judgmental. He was a good fighter. He was really lighthearted. He's exactly what I'm looking for in a character. I loved him. I love characters like him. And I loved all the lines because he really was funny. I loved him. Anyways, he's like a friend of Caesar's, but he like tags along. He's like this Samwise Gamgee type character where it's like he just tags along and he's just like super cool, unproblematic. He's great. I loved him. He was awesome. I like him. I mean, how many times am I going to say that? But I did. He was great. Anyways, so, and then let me go over this. This is, and I'm probably saying this wrong, but this is Calor. I'm just thinking of like, hace calor, like it's hot. But this is the king of the kingdom. And he's got white hair and gold eyes too. Name pronunciation on point. Okay. Calor. Yeah, very, very cool pictures. He is evil looking in here. He looks very intense. He looks like I wouldn't want to, mess with him. You know what's so funny is when I first saw these pictures that you sent me, D-Not, I was like, oh my goodness, that is Caesar when he grows up. He's such an intense king. No, this is a totally different character, just with the same white hair and gold eyes. So, which is a trademark of that, the powers that he has, the like divine light powers, I think. But Caesar is the only one who is considered like the hero, the reincarnation of Gabriel. The other people just have that type of power. So that was very cool. And then Alden, pull up him really quick. Oh yeah, and if I am rating characters, Calor gets a negative 5,000 out of 10. And he's a bad guy. This is Alden. I love me a grumpy man who is very sure of himself and brave. And like, I feel like in fiction, the good guys are always young, strapping men. But the smart, strong ones, the one who would actually win in a fight, like in reality, are older men. Like men, I feel like, what is it they say that's like a man in his prime? The first thing I can think of is that guy who did a freaking backflip without his shirt on in rollerblades at the skate park. It's like, you may not like it, but this is what the peak male form looks like. I forget what it is, but older men just have life experience, but also their bodies do get stronger way later into life than you can think. I love the idea of an old man being like the hero of the story, With age comes experience, with age, like their fear. Hello, Nerdorine. Hey, nerd. Sup, dweeb. Fear an old person in a profession where people die young. Yes. Oh my gosh. That is such a good. So they've survived this long because they're intelligent, because they know what the heck they're doing. Like if you work with older men in your profession too, not just in a violent situation. Like, they know what they're doing. I mean, of course you can skirt by and be incompetent and still be an older man, or older woman or whatever. But with age, with men and women comes wisdom, comes experience. Like, you should feel safer around them. I'm not going to feel safer with some freaking 20-year-old dude. I'm going to feel safer with a 50-year-old dude. Zombie apocalypse comes, I'm hitting up the VA or something. Like, I'm not just gonna, you want these older people with you. I loved that you did that here, D-Not. I thought that was so awesome. And then textual, yes, I love that clip so much. It is freaking awesome. That guy is a legend for sure. So anyways, I liked Alden. If I'm rating characters, 10 out of 10. I loved him. Okay. He was a bit boring. Obviously by the end, he's not as boring. But he's not like main enough for me to rate him that high, I guess. But I have no notes on him. I liked him. Classic older man mentor. But I would read a book solely from his POV. Especially look at this picture. He's hardcore. Love it. Loved Alden. Great character. And the final character that I'll be talking about, because I'm not going to go over Murray. Is it pronounced Murray? This is Damien, who, let's see, when does he get introduced? I don't remember which chapter that is. But I didn't even pull up my notes yet. This is Damien, a character who they discover about midway through the book, who also has red eyes and black hair. Weird to see. Okay. Like me, chapter 12. Okay. Reminds me of that Turkish guy who won the sharpshooting Olympics without the typical aiming glasses things. Yes. In Keanu Reeves too, right? If you think about it, he's like older. Everybody's afraid of him. Yeah. Love that. These people are, when you're a legend, you're awesome. Whenever I think of I think about, it's going to drive me, the guy from The Last of Us, the main character in The Last of Us. I always love the older grumpy man who like adopt a young girl, like every guy in Arya, like that met Arya Stark. John Wick, Joel. Yes, Joel. Yeah. Joel, older man, like you trust him to take you across the country, right? You're not going to trust some like super fit 17-year-old guy. I mean, maybe you'd want to read a story about that if it has like a romance theme to it. But if in reality, I'm going to go with the gray bearded dude, like the guy who's salt and peppery, like super, super wrinkly eyes, skin, like calloused hands. That's what you want. That's what you want. Anyways, Damien, they discover him. Tragic story with Damien. They find him and he has like the same demonic type powers as Luca. That's a big twist. So they find him midway through the book. And what an interesting character too. If I'm rating him, it's in the negatives. Let's see. He's creepy. This kid is super creepy. This kid creeped me the hell out. There were so many scenes where I was like, oh, don't close your eyes around this kid. And that was before the big reveal. So, yeah. I always trust Pedro Pascal with my life. Yeah, I love Pedro Pascal. Also, Pedro Pascal, please, I don't know if you've seen his SNL thing, where he pretends, or like the skit where he like he goes into a coma and then he wakes up with this like LA accent and he doesn't like remember his wife or anything. And my husband and I constantly quote him and he thinks he can speak Spanish. He's like, despite what they say, I can speak Spanish. Saba, 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 saba. You gotta look it up. It's so good. It's so freaking funny. I love Pedro Pascal. And obviously, like, he's like so... I love him. He's great. He's great. I loved him in Game of Thrones. I loved him in so much. Haven't seen that one, but I'll have to check it out when I get the chance. Yes. Definitely watch it. Damien is one of those characters where he's super creepy, but his backstory is super tragic. Absolutely. He definitely... So you feel for him. You like Oh, you know what this reminded me of? His character reminded me of. If you've seen Attack on Titan, which I'm assuming you have, he reminds me of the Eldians that live in Marley. I love him in The Mandalorian, and he's definitely awesome in some of the other stuff too. Oh yeah, I forgot him in The Mandalorian, Narcos. He's hecka funny too. I still need to watch that one with him and Nick Cage. Ooh, I'm supposed to be picking out a movie for my husband and I to watch tonight. Maybe I'll pick that one. He said he doesn't want to see it though. Anyways, that's what I was getting from Damien is the Eldians who live in Marley. So if you've not watched Attack on Titan, that's a big spoiler to Attack on Titan, you'll forget what I'm talking about by the time you watch it anyways. But there's basically this race of people who are seriously persecuted in Attack on Titan because they have like superpowers and they call them demons and they like treat them like dirt. But a lot of these people think that they're evil. They like the Eldians that live in this other country, they believe that they are lesser than, and so that's kind of what's going on with Damien is he is treated so horribly and he feels like he deserves it because of who he was born to be. I don't know if I'm just entitled. I feel like nobody could tell me I'm trash. Well, growing up, my family was not the biggest fan of me, and my reaction was, you guys don't have good taste. So I feel like that's definitely how I would act. But this is like next level torture. He really does have a tragic backstory. So as far as complex characters go, like you did very well with creating him, making me feel for him, but also I was terrified for him. He was as far as characters go, I think you did a great job creating him. I'm not a fan. I'm terrified of him. He's so creepy. And okay, also shout out to Damon as a character. Damon is the demon king that, existed a long time ago that is like the reincarnation / possessor of Luca. As far as characters go, I want more on him. Okay. So, here's the plot breakdown, right? So Luca and Caesar are having their grade A gaslighter. Yeah. Yeah, he is. Luca and Caesar are having their 16th birthday. They're in the big city and they walk up to this fancy sword in the stone type thing called the Mirage sword. And as they get closer, they're like drawn to this sword. Luca especially, I'm assuming, they both seem drawn to it, but Luca especially. And so once he gets closer to it, he like bursts into black flame. Like he explodes in black flame and he is very suddenly like imbued with this magic. He did not think he was magic before. Now all of a sudden it's like, boom, like I'm covered in demon flames. In this huge crowd of people, this huge crowd of people is like, demon. Everybody's terrified of him. And also like he's fearing for his life. And he really, so he like runs away. He gets the magic. His brother and his dad are like, what did you do? Oh my goodness. And it's like, what did I do? I didn't do anything. All of a sudden I'm evil magic. Like if I suddenly became evil magic and somebody said, what did you do? I'd be like, you freaking kidding me, dude? I didn't do anything, first of all. And that's the kind of the theme of this book, which is like Dinot said in his summary, are monsters born or created? So they're all kind of thinking like, oh, you're evil because of this. So there's a little bit of a discrimination here, but he's the only one of their kind, supposedly, right? I mean, I already revealed that there is at least one other kid, with these demonic powers. So Luca runs into the wilderness because what else are you going to do? Right? He runs away. And then his, he's having this like crisis where he's like, what the heck is going on? He's very confused. And then his brother, Caesar, follows him out into the wilderness and is like, reveals that he knows a little bit more about this than he does somehow, and then treats him like he's the enemy. And they're twins, they're brothers, and all of a sudden he's treating him like he's the enemy. So that's our inciting incident. That's the story. And so then Luca's like on the run and hiding his identity, hiding his eyes under a hood, hiding his face under a hood so people can't see his red eyes and his black hair. And he goes and finds this village, and he goes to this village, and he's just passing through, but he like helps them while he's there. He wants to like help people. He's dealing with the Demon King Damon kind of talking to him in his mind, and trying to be like, no, I'm not evil. I swear I'm not evil. And he's like kind of has this crisis where he's like, no, I'm not evil, right? And he's like convincing himself and trying to convince Damon in his head that he's not evil. And then he meets so he goes to this village and he meets this girl who's like helping him, realize that maybe he's not evil. And it's only been like 2 weeks since this whole thing happened. Like it's very, very fast paced. And then, Gabriel. I'm going to want to call him Gabriel for some reason. Caesar comes by and like looking for Luca, like hunting Luca. His own brother is hunting him down because he's the supposed reincarnation of the hero, Gabriel, who's supposed to kill Luca / Damon and save the world. And then the girl's like, oh no, he was here, but he passed through, so then Luca's safe in that town for a while because he's not going to come looking where he already checked, right? So he spends a little extra time there. Anyways, Damon gets control at a certain point and freaking kills the entire town, not including the girl. She happened to be running an errand out of town at the time. But basically women, children, that was walking cataclysm. That chapter, that was such a good chapter. I mean, obviously it was horrible, but the emotion was so real. It was so devastating. My heart was broken. I didn't think that was going to happen. Honestly, until that moment, I was expecting it to be revealed that Damon wasn't actually that bad, that he was just painted as the villain in the story, and that he was actually going to kind of like use Luca to redeem himself and become king, but no, Damon is an evil bastard and killed a village full of good, innocent people and children. Like it was heavy. That chapter was so heavy and well written and beautiful. Dina, I loved that chapter. It was so good. And after that chapter, I feel like the chapters just kind of kept getting better. Because after that, it was like, okay, we're really in the story from very early on because the inciting incident happens immediately. And then it's just action on action and action. Like you said, it's breakneck speed as far as the plot goes. So anyways, that happens. And then you switch for the first time going into Caesar's POV after all of the death and destruction that Damon causes. And Luca's heartbroken and blames himself for what happened. Like he like burns an entire village to the ground, like individually. Well, time for me to get ready for work. Have a good one. Bye, Zach. Thanks for stopping by. Anyways, so then we switch into Caesar's POV, which was another great chapter. And Caesar's like, I'm supposed to hunt down my brother and kill him and save the world. And he's just like training, and we get to meet Edric, and it's just like a different vibe because everybody's looking to Caesar as the hero. And everybody's looking at Luca like the villain. And so you're getting two totally different people, which was cool to see and to understand a little bit more of what's going on in Caesar's mind. And then Caesar even has like a relationship with King Calor. Anyways, so then they're hunting him down. And then 3 months goes by, and then you get to see Luca again. And because they're hunting down this dragon, and they try to kill the dragon, it doesn't work. And the dragon, there's a lot going on. So the plot continues and continues to thicken after that. So here's what I'm going to say about the first half of the book. And this is going to be my first like criticism of the book. Is yes, it is moving at breakneck speed. I loved the action in this book, and it definitely reads like it flow. I would say that the pace is nice, really, really nice. I have no issues with the pace. I think it's very well paced. The issue is that there is not a lot of world building. There's not a lot of character building, and there's some white room syndrome. And that is really prominent in the first part of the book, because I don't know anything about Luca and his personality at all. I don't know anything about his relationship with his brother. I don't know anything about the world that they live in. I had so many questions, and during the like first half of the book, you're like learning as you go. There's no info dumping. There's no telling without showing. Like you do a very good job of that. The author does a very good job of that. I think it's a great first chapter. You get right into it. There's great descriptions. It's very intriguing. However, you need to set the scene in the first chapter, in my opinion. I don't have any idea of the time period or vibe. For some reason, I was picturing like modern day or futuristic New York in the beginning, because it said there was like mention of towering buildings. And so I don't know why I was just like immediately New York. And there wasn't, you had mentioned like a market and like a town square, which kind of gives a little bit more of an older type of, like a more accurate time period than what is revealed later. I would add, you're not the first person to tell me that good to know will be fixed. Just add small details, and the reader will do the rest, right? So talk about the technology. Maybe a cart drives by, like a horse and cart drives by. Instantly, I'm set back several, centuries, right? The clothes, you can mention some of the clothes, a tunic, like if you're doing physical descriptions anyways, you can mention what Caesar is wearing compared to Luca. You can talk about, again, transportation is a really big one, how people pay. Is magic pretty common? Are there people being like, oh, the people were selling, roasted rabbit in the market, and they were using their magic to cook it, like that kind of thing. Like, oh, magic is pretty common in this world. Like, it's not super common, but somebody who is magic might use that skill for their trade. Stuff like that. I did not think that magic was common knowledge, other than there was this like legend, right? Because there can be legends without anybody having any like magic in their life, right? So that was cool. Or that could be added. I don't know why I was picturing New York City until he was like, okay, he's out in the woods. So so there was like, and then there was like a city gate. And that's when I realized, okay, like modern cities don't have, city gates. So that's when I was like, okay, maybe I'm in the wrong time period. So there's little details like that. One thing I also would like more details on: who is Luca? What is his relationship with his brother and his father like? Why are they in the city? And so it's mentioned like, okay, he has red eyes and black hair. I want to know, is he used to people thinking he looks weird? Is he used in his village back home? Is that weird? Right? I want to know that. Is he like best friends with his brother, or are they so different that they've never gotten along? That I have no idea about. You can do like symbolism with that. Were they walking in tandem? Were they walking completely differently? Were they talking to each other? Were they looking at each other, checking in after their dad accidentally ran into a guy who was using his lightning magic or whatever? Like, you can do like these little one sentence things that the reader will just like latch onto and give so much symbolism that they'll get everything in one picture. Like you can do small, little, tiny details to help us to understand, like, no, he was best friends with his brother. In this moment before the inciting incidents, they're best friends. They're twins. They're the only people that they ever really talk to. They're very, very tight knit. I don't know that in the first chapter at all. For all I know, they're basically strangers, right? Which you can get with siblings, right? Also, I want to know more about, again, world building. We want the setting. I want to know if there is like is magic a thing? What type of magic are people like glancing at how weird Luca is before the inciting incident, because that doesn't happen. Does he feel self-conscious about it, like even more than he did back in his hometown? Like I want to know those things. And then the same with Caesar. Does he feel confident that he's rocking the same look as the royals? Do people look at him and wonder, oh my goodness, is this some like bastard prince? You know, these are like real questions that I had throughout the book. There was a little bit of white room syndrome too, where it was like, okay, we're going straight into the action, straight into the dialogue. Where are we though? Are we like, what type of forest is this? Are we on a path? How thick is the forest? There was one time where it was like, I was picturing daytime and it was very clearly the middle of the night. And I realized it later, you know? So it's like, there's certain details where it's like, you just provide this small hint to the surrounding areas and you're good. You have all of the information that you need. So there was a little bit of that. Let's see. Oh yeah. And then also, why were they in the city and not at home? I want to know that. Is that a hint that the dad maybe is aware that something weird was going to happen on this day? Or he took him to the Sword in the Stone, the Mirage Sword, specifically to see what would happen? Or was this just like, oh, they were just having a good time to celebrate for their birthdays, and this is simply a coincidence? You know, a coincidence that was obviously going to happen because of destiny. I want to know that. Another thing that I really, really wanted to know later in the book is, or like a few chapters in, is like, does everybody, Caesar is considered like the hero with the capital H. Like it's kind of like the way that it's read, that the way that I read it, it was like this was common knowledge, and it was not common knowledge. Like I read nothing about Caesar being the hero, and that being like an official thing, other than he looked like the hero. Was he already training to be the hero? Was he already like, were people already treating him like the hero at this point? I feel like the first and second chapter need work in that thought. So originally chapter 1 opened with a waking up in the room thing, which led into them going to the city to celebrate their birthday. I got some feedback that it was boring, so I decided to start in the capital. Okay, well, you can just add small details. You don't need to info dump. It doesn't need to be boring. However, it feels like I'm missing information, like an entire chapter has been cut out. And I had some I had several moments where I was like, did I zone out and just skip over like a paragraph that was vital to the story? Oh yeah, of course. I've wanted to rework the first couple chapters for a long while. So, okay, perfect. Then I'm giving you great advice then. Cause I think another really good point on this is, another thing I was wondering too is that so Damon, another thing that happens is so Luca feels basically Damon inside him. And then all of a sudden Damon's talking to him, and it doesn't seem like it's the first time that Damon spoke. And it's the way that it reads is like it's the first thing that's happened, right? So I thought that was interesting. Or not, I didn't think it was interesting. I was like, okay, this seems like we're skipping ahead, or this didn't get explained properly. Where it was like all of a sudden Damon is talking, like doing like his they're like sharing thoughts. And then I was like, okay, is he possessing him? He's the reincarnation, but he's possessing him. So they have like this connection. Like I feel like that needs to be explained a little bit more. Is it going to be one of those things where it's like, this is him, but it's just like him in the future, basically? Like it's inevitable that he's going to turn into Damon. Are the lines going to be blurred eventually to where there is no more Luca, there is no more Damon, they're going to be Lumen, like it's like, what I want to know a little bit more about the relationship. And then we just go into Caesar, and Caesar gets a good chapter because it gets explained to him where it's like, it started out as dreams, and then he like appeared, like Gabriel appeared to me. So he gets this nice explanation of how it happened with him, which makes sense because Luca's just slammed with it. And then Caesar's like, really, really, his hand is held throughout the whole process from when he was much younger. Did Caesar suspect that Luca was going to become the reincarnation of Damon? Did he start pulling away from his brother at that point? I don't know anything about their relationship. I feel like it's very important to the plot to know more about their relationship. I also don't know very much about what kind of people they are, I have no idea what Luca liked to do before any of this happened. Did he like to cook? Did he like to hang out in the fields and just stare at grass? Did he have other friends? Caesar seems like his nose was just buried in a book his whole life. That I feel like is spelled out pretty clearly. Of course, once you're finished with the book, it's spelled out pretty clearly. It's not like that ahead of time. Was he constantly training, and Caesar and Luca had no idea why Caesar was constantly like trying to learn how to fight? That kind of stuff. I want to know. So anyways, that's what I was thinking. Yeah, the waking up as an opening thing is kind of cliche. Man, my first draft of my book, it seemed like every single chapter was waking up. Because it's like, where do I start? Okay, well, I start with the day. Like, it's a nice way to start when you're plotting things out, because it's so, like, you can start to explain things, what they're wearing, what their plans are for the day. How did they get there? So you don't have to be creative for it. You can just wake up and that's begin, hit the start button. That's waking up in our world. Anyways, I had so many serious, important questions early on that seemed like they were common knowledge, but they weren't. They were common knowledge to the author, not common knowledge to the reader. And that is, again, world building stuff, character building stuff, and setting the scene. So I think that can be worked on easily that can be added. Let me see. And this is the bummer about me not having my notes organized, because I have like paragraphs of notes for every single chapter, and then, but they're not summarized. So hang on, I need to read this. Okay, I need more about how he feels about being the Demon King. Did he suspect that he had magic beforehand? Is he like completely shocked? He thought he was just ordinary and never was curious why he had red eyes and black hair. I feel like that is interesting. Damon is talking inside him suddenly. It reads like this isn't a shocking development. Needs to be built up more. It would be great to hear his voice at the end of chapter 1. It would be a great cliffhanger and clears the idea up of him basically being possessed by him. Those are my notes. Chapter 4. Okay. Lucas just said something about being on the run from people. Okay. Also, one thing that I was really curious about. Okay. So Luca is under the impression that he's on the run, right? And not just on the run from the mob that he saw in the Times Square. He thinks he's on the run from his brother, Caesar. And I thought that was interesting because they just had a conversation in a field, and then Luca walked away. And now he's like running from his brother. So I'm kind of trying to bridge the gap here to where it was like, You just walked away from him. Was Caesar trying to kill you in that field at some point? Why do you all of a sudden feel like you're being hunted by Caesar? Just because of what's expected? That is not explained enough either. I thought that was odd because it was like, he's hiding. Is he hiding from soldiers? He's not hiding from Caesar. Caesar found him randomly in the woods. He can find him. But he thinks he's being like hunted and to be killed by his own brother, who they left a conversation without violence, just like 2 chapters before or 1 chapter before. So I thought that really needed to explain more. Why does Luca think his brother is hunting him? Clearly he was, but it's not like an active hunt. It's like a, if I find him, I'll kill him type of thing. But I'm also actively like going out and looking for him. Like that really needs to be cleared up. I was wondering, like, why does he think Caesar's hunting him? And then later it's like, oh no, he is hunting him. But again, they had that conversation in the woods that Luca just walked away from. And he didn't try to fight him at that moment. Was he supposed to try to fight him? Why did he assume that Caesar's the hero? That never came up before. Why did he assume that they were enemies? Like, that is not explained. The whole dynamic of the which is very important to the plot between Damon and Gabriel is like referenced, but it's not referenced that like, okay, we're assuming these roles now. And I've known that this was my role all along, and it sucks that you are in your role as Damon now type of thing. Like, that needs to be cleared up for sure. We're getting a lot of this is just assumed information that doesn't actually, it should not be assumed. It should be explained. It could be through symbolism. It could be through dialogue. It could be through, maybe in front of it's because I don't know enough about the characters, it's not showing up. So I think if we knew more about Luca and Caesar to begin with, I feel like there's so little adjustments that need to be made for this to all fall into place. That's what I think. But I did have so many questions early on where I was like, wait, what? The whole time, in the beginning is why he was being hunted. And the time passing seemed like how much time is passing, because it seemed like it was just days that were passing. So I already went over that. Oh, family spat, excellent chapter. The thing is that they were just like excellent chapter after excellent chapter. Everything was written well. I loved your writing style. It was very simple but descriptive. It was just fun and easy to read, but not stupid. It was great. There was one word that you used that the author used that I really liked. What was it? Was it dastard? I think it was dastardly. I think Edric uses the word dastardly, and I was like, man, Edric gets me. I loved him. Dragon. Okay. And then then in chapter 10, which is 3 months, it's 3 months later, and it's called 3 months later, and it is 3 months after the destruction of that Damon does. The one time that Damon gains control of Luca's body, and he kills a bunch of people. It is a heartbreaking, amazing chapter to read. It was so bad and so good. I loved that chapter, and hated that chapter. You guys get me. But anyways, so then it goes into Caesar's POV, and they're hunting a dragon, and there's not a good explanation to they're hunting the dragon because the dragon has been burning down, burning like villages to the ground. And they think that it's connected to Damon/Luca, that maybe Luca is controlling it. And so I feel like that needs it, and it's like, has he not been hunting Luca this whole time? Like, I just feel like there's so much, like, as far as the plot goes, it's like we should know what they're doing before, the entire time, kind of like, I really need to know more about what's going on with Caesar. Why is he hunting? Is he hunting him? Is he actively hunting him with plans to kill him? Is he, and then they're hunting the dragon, and then all of a sudden they're teaming up to hunt the dragon. So that's when Luca and Caesar team up, because they're like, this dragon's killing people and there's something off about it, and it's using this, demonic dragon, or this demonic like black flame magic that I thought I was the only one who had. So Luca's like, I'm interested in this dragon. He's burning cities to the ground and people think it's me. So of course I'm going to go after this dragon. And then Caesar is the hero. So of course he's going to go after the dragon too. And Edric is there as well. And so they all kind of team up to take on the dragon. This seems like it needs to be kind of smoothed out a little bit. So why do Alden, and I want to say Larissa, but I know that's not her name. It's something like Larissa. But Alden is there, and it's so crazy because like Alden just lets Caesar go off with the demon king, apparently, because they believe that Luca is the demon king, and Alden just kind of lets it happen. I feel like there needs to be a reason why Alden would let that happen. Maybe Alden gets knocked out cold and needs to get taken back to the kingdom, and that's why Larissa has to take him back to the kingdom to heal, or to go see a doctor, while Luca, Edric, and Caesar focus on what's urgently important, which is tracking the dragon. And I just feel like there needs to be a reason why Alden would ever let that happen. And there needs to be a reason why those two split up, other than Caesar's just like, I'm going to do this thing. I'm a big boy now. I'm going to do it. He's 16 years old and he is still an apprentice of Alden, basically. I mean, he's considered the hero, but I feel like that needs to be smoothed out more. I love it as a plot point. Absolutely. And I also buy it as they both have their own motivations to go after this evil seeming dragon that's burning cities to the ground. And it's very clear. That definitely makes sense. Okay, cool. So again, it's like these little, and I'm going off on it, but it's like these little tiny details that just need a little bit of like either adding or adjusting it, and then boom, everything's perfect. It's okay, because after that, I don't have a lot of things to say as far as like things that could help. Because after that, let me see here. Okay, then Damien is introduced, and then we have the new plot point, which is a twist. It's a reveal. It's very interesting, and it's basically the main plot point. My only note on this is that because this is kind of turns into the main plot point, right? Obviously, Damon becomes the main plot point. We should maybe foreshadow it a little bit in chapter 1. So it doesn't seem like, oh, well, this plot point wasn't working initially, so I'm going to swap into this one. Or like, it seems more like a pantsing idea where it's like you just kind of were thinking of the plot as you were going, and this is like where it had developed. If you foreshadowed this or hint at it in chapter 1, or maybe even chapter 3 when they go into another, when he goes into another series, or maybe there's rumors of another kid out there who has red eyes and black hair. Maybe, and then Luca's like, what? There's another kid out there? Or maybe it's like, I don't know. I feel like some type of foreshadowing that of this will make it seem like, no, the entire time I was like, no, this is more complicated than just between these two brothers, like being destined to be, against each other. I feel like this is up to you, obviously. I feel like foreshadowing for me would have been like, okay, this was intentional. There is something super weird going on behind the scenes at the castle. There is something weird going on with like what happened to all of Damon's descendants. Maybe Luca's wondering like I have red eyes and black hair, which is a clear mark of a descendant of this person or this line of people, but they've disappeared. where are they? That's the plot. That's a huge part of the plot. Maybe, and we can also learn, what does Luca think about it? Turns out they were adopted, which is in the summary, but it's not in the first chapter. I do not count the summary as as part of the book at all. It should not be considered part of the book. So I recommend talking about, maybe it's their 16th birthday, right? Maybe the dad's just assuming it's not actually their 16th birthday. It's the 16th anniversary of the time that the babies were dropped off on his doorstep. So it's not actually their birthday. And then Luca can get into, I wonder whom our birth parents are. This is weird. And then it can kind of go into a little bit of a narrative about that, like a dialogue about his thought could kind of wander to who his parents are. And I wonder if they had red hair or red eyes and black hair like me, or if they had gold eyes and, that kind of thing. That it's an opportunity to, again, foreshadow it, provide us more information on Caesar and Luca. The fact that they're adopted should be in the first chapter. Like, I feel like those type of things are relevant, should not only exist in the summary. So anyways, note there. Then Damien is terrifying. You wrote Damien, when he was watching... Okay, when Damien was watching, at first I was like, oh, this poor little kid is lost and is part of this persecuted group of people. And then when he was watching Caesar sleep, ooh, that was creepy. That was so, so creepy. And then the big reveal that, and I'm about to blow everybody's mind. Spoiler. Where do I put up my spoiler sign? Anyone? Everybody close your eye. Like, Ellen, I don't know if you're still here, but don't listen to this part. Put me on mute. Turns out Damien is the dragon. He's evil as hell. He's so evil. And he is the one who is, he's been being tortured by the king. They torture these people. The people who are born with the red eyes and the black hair, who have this magic, are being tortured. He has the most heartbreaking, horrible torture flashbacks and descriptions. And it is really well written. It is awful. I felt terrible. And he's been brainwashed to think that he's evil, except for, and this was a little bit, I don't know how inconsistent it was, or if I just wasn't reading it properly, but he basically thinks the way that they think of him is like, oh, he's been brainwashed to think that he is a monster. But really, Damien is like, oh, I'm just messed up and crazy in my head. And has this evil magic. He turns into a dragon. He's been like basically tortured constantly by the king, who he calls Mr. Calor instead of the like King Calor or Your Highness. Like, I thought that was weird. And then his wife, the Empress. So there was like a little bit of mixing of whatever that word is for like Mr. and Mrs. and all that stuff. But anyways, he's been being tortured by them, by the evil king and the evil queen, and hardcore, and his family has been tortured, and he's called Rat, and he is not fed, and he has scars all over him, and it goes back into flashbacks of how he's been tortured. So anyways, that was insane. I thought that was crazy. That was crazy. Finding that out. He was so well written. D-Not. He was a very, very well written character. I was creeped out. I'm very invested in his story, basically. So yeah, I thought that was good. And the way Edric treated him, I loved that scene where Edric's like flirting with these girls and just says, oh yeah, this is my kid brother. He's real mysterious because he has a hood drawn so that people don't see his red eyes. Anyways, let me just share this Damien picture really quick. Did not go. This is Damien. Look how he's crying. It's so sad. This is like a haunted kid. He's messed up and he has plans to get some revenge. And the book ends on him. Oh, what a great epilogue. Is it the epilogue or is it the ending? I think it's the epilogue. Yeah, it's the epilogue. Whew, what a good epilogue. I loved that. I love that. The epilogue of this was like, oh, this is terrifying. It's really setting up for like the next book. The fact that he was like hiding, I feel like not in plain sight, but he was like hiding within the like little, prison that they had created for his people, and is like recruiting. So the next book is going to involve a lot more people with red eyes and with that like magic, that like demon magic or whatever. Also, Damon transfers. He's like, peace. I'm no longer with Luca. I'm going to go hang out with Damien. He's more my vibe. He gets me. So the two villains partnered up at the end of the book. And then so anyways, the end of the book is phenomenal. I loved the way that it was written. Again, excellent writing style. I loved the writing style. Very, again, simple, easy to watch. The action scenes were amazing. And then we get into the sequel, which I'm very much looking forward to. The Brothers Umbra. Oops. I'm going to get rid of my spoilers thing here. I'm not talking about spoilers anymore. Yes. So the Brothers Umbra Bloodshed. Maybe this is why I thought it was New York. Because just glancing at it, because I'd seen this before I read the book. It's kind of giving London. But I don't know, skyscrapers. Maybe that's why I was thinking. Epic type character sketches. Yeah. These are really cool. Very, 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 very cool graphic art. He also commissioned some art, which I'll share with you guys. Look at this. Here's these characters. There is Luca and Caesar. Our guys. And Cherry, if you're listening, well, looks like you are. This is actually supposed to be a glimpse at Camelot. That's cool. Cherry has a character who has red eyes, and they're also seen at kind of depicted as the villain. And so I was like, I kept thinking back to that character as well, because it's kind of the same deal. Although that guy has red hair, red eyes, black hair, red eyes, flame demon magic. It's just not good for his image. But I would say, as far as this book goes, you have such a cool idea for the plot. You have such a cool kind of list of characters here. You have very cool magic, very cool world. I could use a lot more world building, a lot more scene setting, and I do not like over imagery. I don't think anybody really likes to be hit with just talking about the flowers. And I mean, I feel like maybe I do that too much, but in my book, but I feel like nobody really wants to spend a lot of time in the scene setting. But if you just kind of weave the world building and the scene setting into what's going on, just the small details will make a huge difference. Describing the leaves on a tree for 6 pages. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, Tolkien. We don't actually like that. Could I ask what you thought about the acceptance and I'm so sorry chapters? Let me look at my notes. Great. Okay, this is what I have down for my notes on acceptance. Great dream sequence. Well done. Acceptance. Oh. Yes. Okay. So this was, I thought that was really good. The metaphor of him, kind of accepting who he is and kind of finally coming to terms with it. I thought that it was really well done. At first I was like, oh my gosh, was this all a prophecy? It was all a dream type of trope, but I was almost going to be excited for it. I liked that one. And then I'm so sorry. Oh shoot. I don't have notes for I'm so sorry. Probably because I was so immersed in the story. Because I do remember the I'm so sorry chapter. So that was from Caesar's POV. I'm amazed at how well I'm able to remember these, what happened in these specific chapters, which says something. So Sacer, you get a lot more on the way that Sacer feels about what he did to Luca as far as abandoning him. Again, another great chapter in my opinion. I thought it was really good. I think that it would probably have hit harder if we had more on how Sacer was feeling prior to that moment. Because again, a lot of it's just assumed, which is not ideal. So I think that that the "I'm so sorry" chapter was great. There, I don't think that anything necessarily needs to change, other than if we can get more on Sacer prior to that moment and how he's feeling about what he's doing to Luca. And we do. I mean, that's the majority of what Sacer's POV is like how he's feeling about Luca. I just feel like there's so much missing in the early chapters that really would have helped us build who is Sacer, how does he think. He's burdened. He's carrying a huge burden with him. I would say not as big as Luca's, but being expected to save the world at the age of 16 is huge, and he takes it like it's his responsibility. And unfortunately, that puts Luca, who is or isn't his best friend at this point, that's another thing that needs to be fixed. That needs to be fixed. However, again, those chapters, acceptance and "I'm so sorry," those are like the crux that's like the character arc. That's the character climax for both of those characters, right? Luca is accepting who he is and knowing that he is a person outside of who his powers are. He's finally realizing it, Meanwhile, Sacer is like, man, I effed up. My brother is not a monster. I love him. And then so anyways, great chapters. Those were two great chapters. I feel like I have not gone into enough how much I liked about this book. However, I luckily did comment throughout the story to try and say like, okay, I like, this is awesome. This is awesome. This is awesome. But I can also send you all of my notes that I have. Because once we get past, let's see. I'm trying to think. I have great chapter, fantastic chapter, really great chapter, no notes. Another excellent chapter, another great chapter. This is like I'll send you my notes specifically. I mean, I have them chapter by chapter. They were notes meant for me, so they may not be the best, but I think they could be helpful to you. And you can always reach out to me and say like, what did you think about this? Or, hey, I edited this. Can you check it out and see if that answers whatever questions you had? And turning points 1 through 4. Okay, so I don't have a lot of notes on turning. Okay, well, turning point 1, I have so period good period in all caps. I loved turning point 1. So crazy good. Turning points 3 and 4, I put, we need to build up the friendship with Murray earlier on. What is her relevance to the story? I need more on her. Because clearly, I mean, I saw in Ellen's comments too, like, we're assuming that she is a love interest. We're assuming that she's going to help him discover that he is not evil, right? She's going to be key to kind of like helping guide him to the truth about himself, right? So we assume that about Murray. Anyways, so we're assuming a lot with her. She's absent for the bulk of this story. She's very quirky. She's a very strong character. I definitely liked her a lot. But because she comes back in the end, the friendship needs to be, I feel like, built up more. He needs to think about her while she's gone. He needs to think about, what would Murray think? I'm so glad Murray wasn't here during this time. Hey, thanks for the follow. Sandra? Oh, I know. You're one of the ones I'm going to be doing a first impression on. Anyways, so that is that was my note on turning point 3 and 4. Your ending is phenomenal. So the thing is with the pacing of this story, something relevant and important happens every single chapter. It does not go like this. It is just like boom, 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 plot point, important action, character. Like, it's all there. It's all perfect. And then the ending doesn't just like, it doesn't teeter out. It's very action-packed ending. I loved that they put Alden in charge in the end. Obviously, I'm a fan. I could have used more on Alden, by the way, as a character. I would have liked more on him. So I think that, so as far as endings go, awesome ending. I think that, it was well paced. It was like exciting. It wasn't boring. It wasn't like, oh, and they all lived happily ever after. The epilogue, loved that epilogue. Oof, what a good epilogue. That's an epilogue that you wait until the end of the credits to see the cutscene and everybody's flipping out about it, you know? Like, that's the type of epilogue you have where you're like, oh my gosh, did you see the cutscene at the end of that movie? That's what that epilogue is. It is so good. But the ending in general is great. They're focused on rebuilding everything that's been broken. The right people die, which I'm a big fan of. The action scenes were awesome, exciting. Edric was there, my guy Edric, who I can't get enough of. Man, I just love Edric. Should just blow up this picture of Edric and put it in my bedroom so I can kiss him goodnight every night. I love him. He was I can't get enough of him. He's so funny. Yeah. Gosh, it's a good story. You have such a cool plot. You have just really cool ideas, really cool magic. I want more on the magic, like the different types of magic. I want to meet everybody who has magic. So I want to, hey, just joined for the first time, your last stream. My last stream for a while. I really love streaming. It is so much fun. Unfortunately, I do love my husband and children more. So I just want to make some time for them and focus on them. And I'll probably, what I'm maybe going to do is just write my book and maybe finish my book and then get back to streaming. But I'll be back. I might be back. I don't know. I'm having a hard time. I'm not having a hard time. I'm fine. Don't need to worry about me, but setting healthy priorities? Rude. Yeah, I'm messed up. I love doing these freaking reviews though. They are so much fun. I know. And you know what? Cherry never asked me for a review. I don't know what that's about, because I would love to review her books. Just me being like, Cherry, have my babies. I love your book. I love you so much. My best one. Call me Valentina. Hello, welcome. Because I haven't finished editing. And Call Me Valentina, I bet you are from Wattpad, and I'm going to be doing a first impression review. Marae is one of my biggest issues. I really like her character, and she is a big player in book 2, but I unfortunately decided to throw her on the back lines in book 1. Okay, so I think just a good, I think it's really simple and the small things that you need to do in order to like fix all of these like issues is small details. Marae should be brought up. Luca should reveal that he's thinking about her. When he talks about what happened in the village, he could think, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that she wasn't here. What would she think of me and what I've become? She thought that I could be a good person. Like, he could tie his hope for himself to her. Like, she's important. I think it's clear to the reader that she's important. It's just forgotten. You know, she's forgotten for too many chapters that she should be brought back. Because her backstory is revealed in book 2. Okay. I knew she had a complicated backstory too. Okay. And gets her character arc there. Luca should definitely bring her up more. I think he only mentions her in introspection. Too little. It doesn't need to be a lot. It just needs to be like, oh, and don't forget about her. She's still relevant to the story. She's still relevant. She's going to come back, you know? That's all that we need. Just a little reminder that she is a character that's going to continue in this story. Me and Ellen love her. I'm assuming that Ellen loves her. She seems like somebody that Ellen would love. But anyways, yeah, and you know what's funny is because she's so not judgmental, and it's clear that that village is like full of like people who have complicated pasts, that you know that hers is going to be freaking epic. And also I want more on her. So it said similar age, but then the king called her a woman, and these are like 16-year-olds. She's not a woman. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I liked her. She was quirky. She was talking crap to an evil king with no repercussions. So I want to know a bit about that. How did she pull that off? But yeah, she's a tough cookie. I'm excited to read more about her. Into young woman. Yes. She is a young woman. She's definitely like independent. She's woman in character, not woman. I would not consider I would not call a 16-year-old a woman. So for your sake, ages are Edric is 19. Nice. Caesar and Luca are 16. Marae is 17. Damien is 13. Thank you for that. Little baby Damien. How sick is it, by the way, to have a 13-year-old evil like douchebag as the villain? I love it. Like, I shouldn't have called him a douchebag. He's not a douchebag. He is 13 and super creepy evil. That is one thing that's like, you see it in horror flicks where it's like, oh, the kids, you know how many times I've woken up to my daughter staring at me in my sleep? 13-year-olds are douchebags. I haven't met enough 13-year-olds, but kids are creepy in like in horror movies for sure, but I have not read books. Like, it's not a trope that's done enough. Hey, Alpha, welcome. Someone logging this. I don't even want to know what you're saying. I approve of that. Message, my little brother is 13. My little brother is 17. He's never been a douchebag, though. He's an angel. He's so freaking tall now, dude. He's so yoked. Will your daughter hear this someday? She knows that she's creepy when she's staring at me, but I've never actually been scared. Now, I never explicitly stated it in the book, but you pieced together the kind of torture Empress did to Damien, right? I didn't want to state it because it's touchy. Okay, so I feel like that's okay, because at first I was like, no. It is implied for sure, but I decided to think, no, that's not what happened. Because I just didn't want that to be what happened, but it really does make what happened to him so much more tragic. It was clear that she was like that type of abuser. So, yes, it is obvious, unfortunately. But I think the way that you handled that type of abuse and that type of torture, I think you did it well. So, no, I think you don't need to change a thing on that, D-Not. I think that, in my opinion, it was implied. I don't think it needs to be implied more than that for the people who are sensitive and maybe don't want to think of it like that. People like me, I personally do not want to read anything about children being abused, especially sexually. I put it in my Wattpad. It's something that I just refuse to think about. But at the same time, you know, literature has a lot of that, and people experience it in real life, and it needs to be talked about. So I think that it is important to Damien's character. It really explains a lot about why he is so messed up. I mean, torture in general obviously will mess up a child who's been raised being tortured, but being tortured like that, especially something as it's not as common a female on a male is significantly less common, and it's horrible and tragic. So anyways, it's gross, and I think it works that way. Calor and her are hard people, which makes part one what? Oh, cathartic. Sorry, I thought you were saying that it's like, yeah, the way that they end is great. I hope that they're all dead. Hopefully not ever. She said she might be back. Yes. So I don't think that this will be my last stream ever. I really enjoy this way too much to do it again. Plus, I have like people that I said I would do a review on their book, and I fully intend on doing reviews on their book because I said I would. So I'll be back. I don't, my husband is like, you shouldn't quit. You should just keep doing it. But at the same time, I don't know. I just feel like I cannot do it all, unfortunately. If only I didn't need to sleep. I could get all this stuff done while my family's sleeping. But it's like my attention is on this. My attention, when I'm looking at, when I'm like with my kids, I'm thinking about books. I'm thinking about what I'm going to write next. It's like I can't, my mind is here. That's the big, honestly, I think that's the big thing. And I think that my husband was picking up on that. Sleep is for the weak. Agreed. I just need to start doing meth, honestly. I had a friend who did meth. And he was like, I didn't sleep for days when he was an addict and, you know, he got clean. Thank you so much for reading, Missy. It really means a lot. It's scary, but it's all stuff I need to hear. Thank you, Cherry. I'll take some Adderall. That'd be great. So I feel like I went hard because I really wanted to explain what needed work. This book is great. Like and on top of you're a good writer, you know, like it's very clear that you have a talent. I liked the way, I really like your writing style because it was so bingeable. Like you saw in my comments, like I was burning through this book. This was easy for me to fit in for my last stream. No, you're good. This is my first serious attempt at a novel. So this is your first attempt at a novel. Dude, and plus you're just you're not just a kid. You're a grown man. I know but you're 11 years younger than me. So in my head, I'm like, when I was 22, I don't know, I was married. I was married for at least a year by 22. But you're fantastic. You're a writer. I just want these like little edits to be made, and then the rest of it, it's like, such a cool book. Like this is like a type of book where I'd be like talking to my brother who reads like a lot of manga, and I would be like, hey, you should try this book. Like you should read this book. It's really cool. Like it kind of has, in my head, it has like kind of an anime, like, you know, it has like an epic hero type. It's a epic hero, obviously an epic hero type story. Very intriguing. The world is really cool. Work on the world building. I want way more on the characters. I'm a character person. Like, the plot is very, very important. But I will read anything with good characters. So Kita actually mentioned the final fight with Damien reads like an anime. Totally. So I think that, yeah, the book is exciting. It is exciting. It is fun to read. It is fun, which, you know, it's phenomenally paced. Great book. Perfect for my last review for now. Because I really enjoyed it. And my husband was like, because sometimes I'll read them and I'll be like, you know, this isn't something I would ever read again. And I've had books where I'm like I didn't enjoy reading this because I was like, there was so much about it I didn't like. I really enjoyed reading this book. It was exciting. Again, it was just exciting. It made me feel things. So I normally pick a favorite quote. Unfortunately, I didn't do that because I kept commenting instead of being like, oh, I like this quote. Oh, I like this quote. But basically the Walking Cataclysm chapter, had me. That was like, that entire chapter is like my favorite quote, just because the emotion behind it. I was like heartbroken with him. He had like a physical reaction to his remorse over what happened. I was shocked. My jaw was on the floor. Like that's the thing, is like, you got an emotional reaction from me several times throughout this book. I feel like if I can ever grade anybody, it's based on, did I have an emotional reaction? Did you make me feel things? Dude, Dina, you made me feel things several times throughout this book. I felt something every time I was supposed to feel something. There was never a time where I was like, that didn't play right for me. I felt it when you wanted me to. I was right there with you. I just want more. I just want more detail in certain areas. And it, again, doesn't need to be a lot. Little hints, dropping little hints there. Can you review my book cover, or do you not have time? I absolutely will. Badly Hurt Alpha. Oh yeah, nail breaking and crying while he digs at the ground. I loved that chapter and the ending with the little girl. The little girl in the ending, I was like, oh no, she's still alive. The whole time I was hoping it was a dream. And then I woke up like further down and I was like, oh, it's goodness. It's just like a vision of what could happen. And it wasn't. And I was like, no, I thought this was a dream. And I commented that. Ugh, man, that was a really, really great chapter. Ugh. There was a lot of great chapters. Again, I'll send you my note. Like these are, again, notes for myself. So you can trust that I'm being 100% honest. I would read a chapter and then I'd go in and I'd put, okay, this, I have questions about this. I'm still asking questions by this chapter, maybe not relevant to this chapter, but by this time I feel like I should know what's going on here. I'll just send you everything and you can let me know like, hey, this sentence made no sense. Are you fucking stupid? So, like because they're, again, notes for myself. So anyways, I will send you my notes because they are chapter by chapter. There was, a couple of instances where there was like a tense changing where it would go from, because the bulk of the book is of course past tense, and then all of a sudden it would be present tense. And then a little bit of grammatical errors. And there was one chapter, I think, that had a lot of typos, not a lot, like 3 typos, a lot for you. But anyways, great. Great book, dude. It was awesome. I loved reading it. I'm definitely going to read the sequel. I mean, how could I not read the sequel with that freaking epilogue? And I want to know what Murray's background is. I got to know what that is now that you hinted at that. And I want to know more about Luca and Caesar. And please tell me that Edric is on the page more. Maybe you can do a spinoff for Alden because I would absolutely read some more on him. But thank you so much again. Have you peeked at the book 2 synopsis? Yeah, the typos are because I happen to type too fast sometimes. Okay, hang on. Part 2 synopsis. Let's see. Maybe this is a good opportunity. Okay. Well, how about this? Why don't I go into my first impression reviews because it's 12:30 and I was supposed to start them at 12, so might as well get started. I normally get started late anyways because we all know I be chatting a little bit too long in the beginning of my streams, always. I could be a talk show host. I'm so good at chatting. Missy, after reading the synopsis, stream canceled. I gotta read this. Yeah, seriously. Okay. I'm about to get rid of all of this stuff. Hold up. It's going to take me some time. Anyways, Dina, do you have any questions for me other than what you've already asked before I move on into the other stuff that I'm doing today in the stream? I mean, it's been... How long? How do I tell how long it's been? Is there like a... Oh, there it is. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours is a totally normal amount of time to talk about one 4.5-hour book. Oh my gosh. I spent a little over half of the time. Oh, wait, no. Yeah. A little over half of the time it takes to read the book just talking about the book. With some brief discussions. Very brief. I kept it so brief. What is it? What am I trying to say? Sidetracking. When will you review my book cover? I will do it right after I review the sequel to Brothers Umbra. I'll do it right now. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay. Bear with me here, guys. How do I fix my camera? Okay, now I got to delete that. Add. I don't know how to do this Twitch thing, so you guys are just gonna have to bear with me. Window capture. Add source. Add source. window. There we go. There we go. I'm gonna make this a smidge. Okay, we're moving on to the first impressions reviews here. You can study up for when you return. Yep. Let's see. Okay. First impression review. So my first impression reviews, I always go over the cover, the title, the summary, and the tags. And then I kind of tell you what my first impression is of it. Obviously, we all know why it's important to have a good cover and a good title to your book. One thing that I think is really annoying is when people have a bad title because they'll pick some like stupid, overcomplicated thing that like those are my pet peeves, where it's just like some freaking long title. I don't like long titles. The Brothers Umbra Bloodshed. I'm a big fan of that. First of all, going with the Brothers Umbra Bloodlines is the original, and then the sequel being the Brothers Umbra Bloodshed. We're sticking with the blood as the first one. That's going to catch a reader like me. I like that stuff, and we just had this blown up. The cover is fantastic. This is so exciting looking, and this is supposed to be Camelot, which again, I don't know much about like King Arthur and stuff. I have the book. I plan on reading to my children at some point, but I have not actually read the book or know anything about it, about King Arthur. I feel like I watched the Sword in the Stone cartoon when I was a kid, and that's basically it. So far, dude, so good. I'm liking it. Let's look at the less than 5-minute read. Exciting. Is there something on here? Is there like a chapter 1? Maybe I can read that. Okay, so the summary. A year has passed since his life got flipped upside down, and Luca Umbra is still picking up the pieces. Okay, I have a question. Why is there a comma after down? I feel like so I've been using Grammarly to give me like for spell check, and it's been telling me for like grammar and spell check, and it's been telling me to put a comma in front of like every single and lately. And I've been like, shut up. I'm not going to put a comma everywhere. You know, it's kind of just been a habit I've picked up. I couldn't tell you. Oh, okay. I thought it was me. I thought that something broke in my brain and I forgot where commas are supposed to go. I think it represents a pause. Okay, because I'm just thinking prepositional phrases or what could be considered a whole sentence. You put a comma in front of that comma fits. Okay, cool. A year has passed since his life got flipped upside down, and Luca Umbra is still picking up the pieces. With Murray and Edric at his side... What? But where's Caesar? With Murray and Edric at his side, he travels across Valterra, searching for his father and for answers about who he is, without the voice that once plagued his everyday life. He gone. But peace never lasts. Tensions with Camelot are rising, and a chance encounter with Prince Uther Pendragon pulls them into a growing conflict. As old wounds resurface and new bonds are tested, Luca must decide what kind of future he's fighting for and what he's willing to sacrifice to protect it. That's good. Ayo. Actual Camelot? Yeah. So, Camelot's another country. What to expect is the same. Edric. What to expect, Edric. I love that so much. Edric is his own thing to expect, which just totally makes sense. Okay, a year has passed. A whole year. Okay. After just finishing the book, picking up the pieces. Luca Umbra is still picking up the pieces. With Murray and Edric at his side, he travels across Valterra searching for his father and for answers about who he is without the voice that once plagued his everyday life. Okay, a little soul searching, but where is Caesar? I really want to know. But peace never lasts. Tensions with Camelot are rising, and a chance encounter with Prince Uther Pendragon pulls them into a growing conflict. As old wounds resurface and new bonds are tested, Luca must decide what kind of future he's fighting for and what he's willing to sacrifice to protect it. It's great. I don't have any notes on that one. Again, I do want to know what's going on with Caesar. Is he not going to be a main character in this? So fun fact with that, TBU is basically a precursor to Arthurian legend. Uther is Arthur's father in the grand scheme of things. Well, okay. He just added an A to his son's name. I like it. I need to know where's Caesar. That's what I want to know. In this summary. Because you're saying with Edric and Murray at his side. Well, where's Caesar? Guess you'll have to find out, huh? Okay, fine. It's gonna be like that. You should just tell me what's happening. Okay, and you killed it with the tags in the last one. So let's see how you do here. Action, adventure, angst, Arthurian, betrayal, demons, drama, fantasy, fast paced, again, magic, male lead, male pro tag, multiple lead. Am I going to get to read from Edric's POV? Mythology, original, reincarnation, sword fighting, tragedy, young adult. Great. Great tags. I don't have any notes on this, dude. This is awesome. I feel like, okay. Caesar and Damien. That's where we're left in the last book. That's what I thought this was going to be about. Was going to be about them. Bloodshed. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but I'm really hoping that's included in this book. Otherwise, I'll be pissed after that epilogue. I need to know what's going on with Damien and his army of evil, tortured, jacked up people. Okay? I'm going to need to know. Oh, look at this. My screen is super messed up and nobody told me. Cherry. You're supposed to be the one like, hey, your screen looks stupid. That's your job. Like a lot of black screen going on. Don't forget that Damien's last words were sparking a war between Camelot and Volterra. Were they? What? Oh, duh. Will spark a war between Volterra and Camelot. And when the dust settles, we'll claim our birthright and carve out the world that should have been ours from the start. Whoops. I thought it was fine. Okay, duh. Sorry. How could I have missed that? We need more world building. I didn't really know what Camelot was. Okay. Love it. This is great. I don't have notes here. Sorry. Sorry, D-Not. It just looks good. And I'm definitely going to read it after reading the first one. What could be more interesting on this? A year has passed since his life got flipped upside down. Still picking up the pieces. Yeah, 100% agreed. Camelot was name dropped like one time before that. Can fix that. With Murray and Edric at his side, he travels across Volterra searching for his father. Yes, I want to know where his dad went. What the heck? So yeah, this is great. I don't think that there's any notes. Like it's like a soul searching thing that is going to go right back into the main plot. So I think that it's going to be great. I'm going to read it. Make sure I have it on. Let me add it to my reading list. My library. Okay. Cool. No notes. Sorry. It's great. I don't have any notes on the tags either. Obviously, your freaking title and I don't need to tell you your title and your cover are awesome. You know they're awesome. That's not an issue. Badly Hurt Alpha. I think sequel synopses are easier to make than standalones. Yeah, you're probably right, because everybody's working on it. Da, da, da.